Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's all wonderful and fantastic and excellent. Everything here is good today, and I brought with me some props. And I brought with me some props because I want to talk about print and play. Because people have been asking me for print and play files of the train game, and I have handed those files out to 4 or 5 people now. You know, it's something I haven't thought about in a long time, but some of you may or may not know that print and play is how I got my start. My game Scallywags, published by Game Right Games, it's no longer in print, but it was published by them, and now it's being published in Iran, was first called Doubloons. This is probably the first printed doubloons deck that I had made. This was very early on in my attempt at learning graphic design. I made doubloons print and play, and this, I think I ordered this deck from probably Arts Cow back in the day, but this was all my original art. I was a mechanic at the time, and I remember drawing these little dudes during my lunch hour, and then learning Inkscape and learning how to draw them, and I spent a lot of time on this, and I made print and play files for this. And I got started this way because prior to this, I had tried to make a game or 2 or 7 or whatever, and I had tried to submit my games to publishers and basically got nowhere. I just got a bunch of rejections, and I thought that wasn't really what I was interested in doing. I just wanted people to play my games. Like, I was just looking for an outlet for my creativity. I wasn't looking for a paycheck, right? And in fact, I sent some pitches of this game to publishers. Like, listen, I don't really want. I think I told Game Right I didn't want payment. Like, I just give me copies of the game, and they were like, "That's not. We have to give you payment for it to be a legally binding contract." And I said, "Fine." So, I stumbled upon a game on Board Game Geek by Jeremiah Lee, called Zombie in My Pocket. And it was like maybe 18 cards, and that was it. You printed it off and you could play it. And it was really cool, and it was really fun. And it was really like just hand-drawn, crappy artwork. And I was like, this is the outlet. This is how I'm going to get my games out there. And so I put together print and play for doubloons, and I sent it out to the world, and I said, play my game doubloons, have a blast. And like 6 people did. It's probably more than that at this point. It's probably a lot more than that. But there wasn't a whole lot of people. I had my own printed copy. I had purchased a rubber stamp to make the doubloons. I bought wooden nickels, and I stamped the backs of them with a rubber stamp, and then drew the number on the face with a Sharpie. Somebody along the way handmade me a set of coins that are like clay, stamped clay. They turned out really super awesome and nice. So I have a history in print and play, but to be honest with you, the effort that designers put into print and play titles is very, very rare, very realized. Very, very rarely realized. I actually expect 0 of the 5 people that I sent the files to put in the effort to print the game out and play it, because it's a big train game. It has a big map. It has 60-some cards, 72 cards to print. It has, you got to come up with 200 cubes. It's like, there's a lot that goes into it. And I fully suspect that nobody will actually go through with the printing and playing of the game. And I wanted to tell you all of this because a while back, I got an email and a geek mail from somebody who said, I've got a print and play game. I would love for you to take a look at it. I'd love your feedback. Are you willing to do that? And I said, yes. I've told you before, I don't take games, I don't take submissions from people. I just don't. But I thought this was a slightly different situation, and I wanted to share it with you because I actually really enjoy this game. And this is a game called Sky Towers, and it's a print and play title, but he printed this one and sent it to me. This was designed, I forget his name already. How terrible is that? I forget who the designer is, but it was published by Exist Games, which is, I believe, his thing. Oh, Charles Ward. It is his brand, Exist Games, and his plan is to make more print and play titles that are just forever free. And so this is one that he sent to me, and this is an early, I guess, prototype of this game, because he's already decided that it needs more cards to play with more than 2 people. Like, this is a good 2-player set, but with more than 2, you run out of cards. It becomes a little bit starving. But it's a very simple numbers game, where you're building a tower of cards, right? And you're trying to hit a number. And I believe that number is 21. It's actually been a little bit since I've played it. It is 21. And there's also some goal cards. Like, for instance, if you can hit 21 by playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or if you can hit 21 by playing... or if you can hit 21 with a tower having either 4 4s or 4 5s. If you can hit 21 with just 3 7s, and if you can hit 21 with nothing but 1s, 2s, and 3s, you get these bonus cards, and they're kind of like the first person to do it gets a trophy, and that's just extra points. And so what you're basically going to do is play cards until you hit 21, and there's some rules about them. For instance, the 5 says everyone discards down to 5 cards. So you got a hand of cards, and this makes everybody discard. So you're allowed to kind of hold and not build and try to get better cards, but you might lose a bunch of those cards. Draw a card or ask a player for a card. So when you play the 6, you get a little special power. When you play a 10, it says it cannot cover another card, meaning that basically the 10 has to go on the bottom. You can't put it on top of something else. The 1s says can only be covered by a 1. So once you've played a 1, nothing else can go on top. So you can play 1s because it's kind of like the tippy top of the tower. And or when you play a 4, you can play any number of 4s, so you could just lay out a bunch of 4s. It's a pretty simple little game, right? And in 2-player, it's a little bit awkward because you've got, like, so there's a special rule that you cannot play a card that is on top of another player's tower. So, for instance, the player to my right has a tower with a 3 on it, and this person has a 5. I can't play a 3 or 5 on my tower. I can only play different numbers. So in 2-player, because you don't really, there's only one person, you each both have 2 towers going. And that's kind of neat because it gives you more play options. Like you can kind of be doing 2 different things. Maybe you're going to try to go for these goal cards, and so you're going to play 2 different cards. But it's also a little bit clunky and cumbersome because there's, you can't play these 3 cards on this tower and you can't play these 3 cards on this tower. It's a little weird, but it works. It works well enough that I wanted to talk about it because I promised them that I would, and I sent them a couple of emails, but I haven't really mentioned it because part of it is the cynic, right? Like, I said yes to this. I said, yes, please send me the game. I'll check it out, and I'll let you know. Oh, by the way, there's 2 different solitaire variants, and I have played a lot of those, and I really like the solitaire variants. The first one is just kind of it's called light solitaire, and I would say it's very light solitaire. It's very random. It's kind of like playing with a deck of cards solitaire, where you could play for a little while and then just lose because that's just how the deck was shuffled, and there's not really anything you could do about it. Taroma Solitaire is another variant that is more like playing the multiplayer game, whereas the light solitaire is just that kind of numbers quick play game. Anyway, the point of this is going back to my train game. I've provided files. I fully expect very, very, very few people will play it. But this is only like for the 2-player set, maybe 50-some cards. I think that people could print this pretty easily and could play this pretty easily, and it would be worth their time, and I wish people would. So I wanted to make you aware of it. You can go to Exist Games. I believe it's existgames.com. No, it's just exist with a 1, EX1ST. I'll put a link.com to get his games, to get Charles's games, and you can try them out and play them. And I think it's worth your time because, especially being, if we're all going to be trapped at home again, and with the global shortage of goods and shipping, there's not a whole lot available right now at stores. Like, you can go get this for free and print it at home, and if you don't have a home printer, you can print it at Kinko's or FedEx or wherever you want to print it, and you can have a nice little light game to play with your partner or with your family. Again, if you're going to play 4-player, I would probably... I don't know what Charles's ultimate decision was on how to make this play better 4-player, but I think you could literally just print 2 decks and shuffle them together, and that's a 4-player deck, and it would work just fine. You would only use 4 of the trophies. You wouldn't use 8 of them, but you could just print double of the cards, and there you go. And that honestly might be his solution. He probably emailed me about it, and I've forgotten already. It's been a little while. I mean, obviously, I forgot his name. So, Charles, I apologize for all of that. If I said anything wrong, please let people know in the comments below. I appreciate everybody's enthusiasm for the train game, and everybody who says they're going to print my game and play it. I just, the realist and the cynic in me says probably not going to happen. And I'm curious to know, so, you know, this wasn't all about Sky Towers today. Do you, or have you ever print and played a game? Is print and play something that you seek out? Or is it something that you do when you've got nothing else to play? Or is it something that you do to give things a shot? I know a lot of crowdfunded games have print and play options so that you can try the game before you buy it. Have you ever done that? Let me know in the comments. Are there any print and play games that you regularly play? Maybe you've actually found one that is a gem and you play it a lot. I want to hear about it because maybe I'll give it a shot. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is hegemony. It is a noun meaning a domination of a region or the entire world by a single nation or the authority of one individual over an entire group. Allison should not achieve hegemony over the rest of us merely because her list of social contacts is slightly longer than ours. Hegemony. H-E-G-E-M-O-N-Y. Also, a really good faction in Neuroshima Hex. But I just love how this book stays in character for the sentences.